Hello and welcome to your weekly card pull. My name is Alexa and today I'm doing a reading for the week of October 6th through October 12th, 2024. This reading is predominantly channeled for my Capricorns. However, if you just felt called to a reading in general, there's probably a few nuggets in here. So my dear Capricorns, it looks like for this upcoming week, there are a lot of opportunities for you to start moving in a new direction or a different direction, especially in regards to something that will allow you to access your creative energy a little bit more easily or a little bit more readily. I pulled 4 cards from a tarot deck and I pulled 1 card from an oracle deck, which I asked that the oracle card be the thing that kind of pulls everything together. So I'm going to start out with the oracle card and then move into tarot and get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. But the main message that I pulled for you guys, I pulled the North Node in reverse. So in the upright, she looks like this. This card, North Node card, and if you're not familiar with astrology or North Node in general, is generally seen as something that is indicative of a direction you're moving in, a direction you're moving towards. It's seen as a point in astrology that is representative of what we are designed to grow into, or maybe something that might be a little bit challenging for us, but has a lesson for us or something for our soul, our spirit, whatever you want to call it, to have some level of evolution with this specific energy. Knowing that I pulled the North Node in reverse, and anytime a card is pulled in reverse, it's asking for you to look a little more deeply within yourself or may indicate some level of friction or resistance. I feel like for some of you this week, and the tarot cards kind of confirm this week there are a lot of opportunities to start moving in this direction, which I feel like some of you are already in. You're already moving that direction, but to move in this direction in a very like leaps and bounds way instead of like tiny little minuscule steps, especially in the way of deciding to start something new or getting the time, the ability, whether it's in your work, your relationship, your artistic field, whatever it is, to start actually creating the thing it is that you've been creating. And I think you know what it is. This could be a thing that you're creating for yourself. This could be a structure. This could be a job. This could be a new life. There's a lot of different possibilities of how this could play out for you, but the general feeling that I feel like you guys are going to experience in this is like, oh yeah, it feels right for me to move in this direction, even if there's no logical pull in that way, even if the people around you have disagreements about what you're choosing to do. There's something in you that's going to feel like if you don't move in this direction, you're going to feel stagnant. You're going to feel like you are missing an opportunity for yourself almost. And so I think for a lot of you, there's going to be some level of confidence that you've probably already arrived at that is confirming to you this is the right path to be moving on, so to speak. That being said, main message with this card is to step out of your comfort zone. So that process may have some tension in the way of it might not always be comfortable. It's probably going to be a lot of new territory and a lot of unfamiliarity. So just keep in mind that if anything feels like it's particularly challenging or you're like, I don't know, am I meant to do this? If it feels right in your heart, if it feels like, yes, this is the path I should be on, I just really need to troubleshoot and I'm figuring out the way that I'm doing that. A lot of what the tarot cards say is going to help with that, but your own innate sense of creativity is going to help you to overcome whatever those blockages are to this creative process itself. Okay, I'm going to move into tarot, and I love this deck. This is my tattoo tarot deck. And so the first card that I pulled out of this one was the 10 of Wands in reverse. This card is symbolic of success, but success that comes at a price. I feel like for some of you, this is a reminder that the things that you want are going to require actual effort. And I feel like for others of you, this card is more indicative of the place that you're in right now, likely required a level of sacrifice, probably some kind of self-sacrifice, and maybe you've hit a point where you've kind of just had enough of that. The 10 cards are getting closer to the end of a cycle, so there is this level of like, yes, fulfilling obligations. Yes, you have gotten to a certain milestone, or like you've probably achieved a certain thing, or you're very close to it, or you're working towards that, but maybe you're understanding that this thing that you've been working towards or you are working towards may not come with complete fulfillment, and it may feel like it's taking or degrading just a tiny bit too much of you. And maybe this is the birth or the reason for your decision to have a small shift. And again, these shifts can be huge life shifts. You can be deciding to move, you can be deciding to quit your job and start a new one, and a relationship, start a new one, start a family. Like, they can be huge decisions, but they can also be pretty small decisions, and they don't necessarily have to be big, overwhelming life changes. With this card, there's one thing that I wanted to read directly out of the pamphlet. This card represents the energy of fulfilling obligations while repressed by their weight. So there is a need for you, whether or not you're actually choosing to disengage completely from this or to have a better relationship with it so you're not getting burnt out, there is a need to release or to lower the level of pressure I feel like because this is reversed, it's also speaking about a pressure that may be a little bit more self-imposed. So you may be in a position where the expectation of you is here, but your sense of expectation of yourself is up here. And so it's causing you to put undue pressure on yourself to, again, fulfill a certain role or a certain duty that really doesn't require that level of intensity. So the first, I guess, piece of advice or perspective that I would offer you for this upcoming week is to be really honest with yourself about areas where that might actually be the case, and areas where you might be taking on more than what is necessary for that success to unfold naturally. The next card that I pulled for you, my dears, was the Ace of Cups, and I pulled this one in reverse as well. So in the reverse, she looks like this. Upright, the card looks this way. And this card, to me, the visual is very important. So when you look at it upright, it's basically a goblet and there's water in it, and the water is overflowing, which is basically symbolic of an overflowing cup, a lot of fulfillment, a lot of excitement. This card is also representative of creativity, new seeds being planted. So there is a lot of joy and a lot of new beginnings that come with this card. In the reverse, however, if you look at this card and how it appears upside down, it looks like the water is being poured out of the cup. So again, we're revisiting this similar theme of some level of fulfillment, but that's coming at a certain expense, and this could be draining you. So again, water's falling out of the cup, or looks like it's being drained out of the cup. This can also be symbolic of some level of emotional or creative blockages, or some sense of instability. So this could be, again, in a position, something that you're experiencing within yourself, something that you're experiencing in a situation or a dynamic with other people. But there is this sense of instability that's kind of potentially leaving you feel like your cup's being emptied a little bit more than is necessary. So again, a very big encouragement for you to re-examine your boundaries, re-examine the position that you're in, because we have the theme of the North Node card with this reading. It looks like a lot of these areas where maybe you have been a little stretched too thin, you're pouring a little bit too much out, you're being involved in possibly toxic dynamics or things that are draining you. Acknowledging where those do serve a purpose, they're there as lessons likely, and they have something to teach you, and then acknowledging where you may need to set boundaries so that you can keep moving in this direction and keep moving towards a more creative experience. There is this energy that's really just being stressed of how important that is, and then an acknowledgement of areas where there may be some blockages or some things that are just standing in the way of your sense of ability or competency or capacity to actually fulfill those things, the things that are important to you, not necessarily the tasks that are being posed onto you or that you anticipate are being posed onto you. So the next two cards that I pulled from this tarot deck, I pulled the Justice card in the upright position, and I pulled the Ace of Wands in the upright position. So I'm actually going to start with Ace of Wands. This card is about birth, fulfillment, inventions, starting new things, creation. Again, that word keeps coming up over and over and over again. This card is also representative of the release of old energies so that you can start something new. So I'm getting a lot of Scorpio energy, a lot of rebirth energy, a lot of moving into new cycles. If you think about the cycle of life, life happens at the hand of death and decay. So something dies, it decays, it becomes fertilizer for the soil. It enables the soil to be more rich in nutrients that it needs, which enables new life to begin. So this is the cycle of life in general. We see this in every capacity. If you look at seasons, summer, winter, fall, etc., the way that they're transitioning, the death of one yields the birth of another. So this energy of creation happens when you're willing to let go of old things, old cycles, old patterns, old habits, the old things that are keeping you in a sense where you're feeling stuck, and you're being asked, most likely if you're tuned into this reading, to bring a new energy, or I should say a more refreshing energy, into your world or your spheres or your own life. The main encouragement from this reading just keeps coming back to allowing yourself, putting yourself in the best position to have some creativity, to invent, to start something new. So whatever that means for you, again, total variance across the board for how that may manifest for you, but that energy is something that is begging for you to pay attention to it and to look at it and actually listen to it. And then finally, my dears, I pulled the Justice card. This card is about equality, balance, harmony, fairness. I feel like for some of you, for some of you, I'm getting the word guilt. There may be a sense of guilt in following what feels right for you, what feels true for you. Maybe this is something that makes you feel like, oh, am I abandoning my family? Am I abandoning my responsibility? Again, responsibilities that are probably putting a lot of weight on you, that are probably draining you and exhausting you. It doesn't mean that you have to fully dismiss those responsibilities, but the way that you're relating to them or what you're bringing to the table could likely use a little bit of freshening up by spending some time and some energy on yourself. Another way to look at the Justice card is, are you giving enough energy to yourself when you consider what you are giving to the world around you? If you are constantly pouring your cup out or emptying your cup for other people, are you allowing yourself justice? Are you allowing yourself enough time to refill your own cup so that you have more to give, more to offer, so that you are not just slave labor, for lack of a better word, or working at other people's whims? Because this is how you begin to move in the path of your own destiny, if you will, your own life, your own truth. Moving towards your own truth, your own true sense of self, moving towards your North Node is something that will require you to have a more balanced approach with what you're willing to give and what you're willing to invest in others and in the world around you. And then in doing that, you also have to be cognizant of what your limitations are, to be respectful of that, and to do what you have to do to fill your own cup. So my dears, I hope that this was helpful. Please make sure that if you haven't already, you subscribe to my channel. Let me know below if one of these cards resonated with you in particular. Also, if you prefer Oracle or Tarot or both, they kind of have different tones to them, but I tend to sprinkle both in depending on how I'm feeling. So let me know if one of them is resonating more with you. And with all that being said, I will be back next week for another reading. I love you guys. I really, really appreciate your support and you guys being here. Feel free to give this video a little thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week. Have a good one.